Hello and welcome to my Darkknightmon EX4 deck profile. I've been playing the deck a lot, pretty much all EX4 format. Pretty much took it to locals every week, and really been enjoying it. Kind of a shame that I don't think it's good in BT13. A lot of decks that counter it. But I feel like it was a really good pick in EX4. So here's my kind of late deck profile for the deck. Starting with the eggs, we just have 4 Pugumon. Pretty self-explanatory. It's definitely the best egg for black. Most of our rookies, we just swing into security and hope they die. So it's just an extra search, really. Never really felt the need for 5th egg. Games didn't really go that long. And our deck doesn't, digivolve up in raising area anyway, so never happened. But if I did run out of eggs and couldn't win, you need to hard play stuff anyway, so yeah, it's fine. 4 eggs, do good. For the level 3s, starting off, we have 4 copies of Monitamon. Funny enough, I think this is actually one of the best cards in the deck. It's a really good searcher. Reveal top 4, add 2 cards that are basically anything in the whole archetype. Adds all your Twilight stuff, plus any of the Nightmon Deadly Axe, so it adds all the old stuff, all the Twilight stuff. Plus it says cards, not Digimon. So, Monitamon can add your Tamers, it can add your option card, Immortal Ruler. Yeah, it's really good. And also because it has Twilight in its traits, it's your level 3 blocker as well, when you have the Nene team out. I will say, right now, that a lot of the newer stuff has Twilight in its traits, and a lot of the older stuff does not have Twilight in its traits. That's really important to note when you're making this deck. I've seen some people be like, oh, some of the older stuff's as good as the new stuff. But it's not, because the old stuff doesn't have Twilight in its traits. So, just getting out of the way, we definitely lean towards more of the new stuff, because some of the support just works a lot better with it. Yeah, so 4 Monitamon, really good card, you have to run 4 on the deck. The rest of the rookies are all just personal preference. I run 3 of the security Doremon, 2 of the security Chikurimon, and 2 Chumon. It's 11 total. I bounce between 11 and 12 rookies. I think one of those numbers is the correct number. 2 Chumon's really nice, good against some decks, stop them gaining memory, memory boost, inheritables. I think 2 Chumon's worth playing. I do not like the play cost, can't reduce play cost Chikurimon, because it affects your own deck. I see some people playing at 1, but I just don't like it. I just want Chumon. Doraemon's really good in this deck because 60% of our deck is 4 play costs or less Digimon. So Doraemon has a high chance of hitting something. The fact it adds to hand doesn't really matter, but I suppose it helps with our lower rookie count. If it hits insecurity, it gives us that rookie to digivolve. Chikurimon's always really fun in security. Again, if we see any of these in our hand, just digivolve, free draw, free swing, hope it dies, get that Pugumon draw. Top deck, look at. When I was running 12 rookies, I was just running a 3rd Chikurimon. But this is all personal preference. If you don't have these Doraemon, I would just run 4 Chikurimon and then add some other whatever you want to boost up the numbers. But yeah, that's it for the rookies. Again, we rarely digivolve on the rookies, so it's a lot of flexibility. Just make sure you have 4 Monitamon. That's basically all you need. For the level 4s, we have, starting off, 4 of the new EX4 Deadly Axemon. You'll note that most of these have a 4 play cost and an on-play effect. Trash a Twilight or Blue Flare to draw 2. Note that it says card, not Digimon, so if you open too many Tamers or option cards, you can trash one of those to draw 2. Really good, because it helps. Putting stuff in trash helps set up your Digicross plays, and drawing 2 is obviously really nice. And then on deletion, you get something from the archetype. Note that if you reveal any of the old cards, they're not Twilight, so won't grab them. But yeah, the best Deadly Axe. The other one's actually a really good searcher, but it doesn't have Twilight in its traits. So this one's definitely better. Also, the plus 1000 is all turns, which doesn't help that much for attacking, but is useful because it makes you a slightly higher blocker. Having a Dark Knight X with this, that extra 1000 can make or break, blocking level 6s. So, 4 of those. Next, we play 3 of the new EX4 Skull Knightmon. On play, if you don't have a Nene, you can play one from your hand. Note that the new Tamer also counts as Nene, so you can play either of your Tamers for free. It is exactly the same on deletion as the Deadly Axemon that revealed top card. If it has Twilight, add it. I've seen some people run this at 4, but once you get the on play once, the card's kind of useless. Not useless, but it's not that good of a card. But you really just want to see 1 early to play Tamer for free, and then the rest are just there. But I think 3 is the right amount. But run 4 if you really want to see it, like opening hand or super fast. Reboot Inheritable it feels really slow in this deck, because none of our Dark Knights have Rush. So you have to play the Dark Knight, wait till next turn to attack, and then the turn after that, it's got to live 2 turns, then it has Reboot. So it's not bad, but it does feel slow. But in a longer game, it means we can attack and still block everything. Yeah, so that's that one. Next we play 2 of the old Skull Knight. I go between 2 and 3 copies of this card, currently running 2. Its when attacking effect rarely comes up, because we have to have a Deadly Axe on the field. This, we're not really playing for 4 unless we bring it out for free with a Doremon or Pride Memory Boost. But this is the only thing I kind of consider Digivolving and raising because of the 2 cost and no on-play effect. But even though it's got no on-play effect, even though it doesn't have Twilight in its traits because it's older, we love that security attack +1. And because we can Digicross from the trash, we only really need to see 1. Once we see 1 in our hand or trash, then we have the option of using it multiple times. So because of that, I feel 2's enough. All you need is C1, and then you're pretty much good to go. It works really nice with the older cards, the different mode of Skull Knightmon and the old Dark Knightmon. So if you run more of the older stuff, you can run more of this, but I don't run much of the older stuff, so yeah, just 2. But again, your choice. If you want to run 3, then you can run 3. Next up is 4 copies of Skull Knightmon Mighty Axe Mode. It's a searcher, and it has 2 really, really cool things about it. First of all, it counts as either Skull Knightmon or Deadly Axemon. So just that fact alone means you want to run 4 of it, because it really helps with a Digicross to count as whatever we're missing. Also, it does have Twilight in its traits, so perfectly works well with everything. The Digicross effect, if you Digicross with 2 Digimon, it'll be a 2 play cost that deletes something with 4 play costs or less. This didn't really come up that much. There's not that much that's 4 play cost or less you really want to get rid of, except for like a rookie or something. There's no like, unless you're versing a mirror match, there's no really champions in the meta that have 4 play cost. But Digicrossing, even with one thing under it, is nice because it makes it 3 play cost, and if you're set to 3, or you just get boosted up to 3, everything costs 4 in this deck. So this is something that can cost 3, keep your turn, then go something else. Also works well with the old Darkknightmon, because you can Digicross to put one thing under it, then put the old Darkknightmon on top of it, and you have 2 things under. Technically, you can do that with the new the BT10 Darkknightmon 2, because you still have 2 sources under it. So yeah, you have to run for this one. It's pretty much the best one in the deck. Lastly, for the archetype level 4s, I run 2 Skull Knight Cavalier mode. I see most people run this at 1, and the reason is because it doesn't have an on-play effect, and it doesn't have Twilight in its traits. I have considered cutting it down to 1. But what I like about it is that it's a 1 cost to evolve it on a level 4, and it gives jamming and blocker. So first of all, it goes really well with the old Skull Knightmon, because it gives security attack +1 with jamming, and if you want to lean more into the old stuff, back in the old Dark Knight decks, that was basically the play, like really cool early 2 checks. That doesn't happen that much anymore, but it's nice to give anything in the archetype jamming if you want to swing and not die. Also, just 1 Evo cost, get a draw. That helps with the deck, because you can brick at times. The block is also nice, deceptively nice, because it's a 1 cost to make anything a blocker if you don't have your Nene out. This won't work with Nene without the blocker because it's not Twilight in its traits, but its own effect gives it blocker. Going with this Skull Knightmon, you can swing with jamming and reboot. So free swing, reboot to block, 2 swings with that one. Yeah, and also it, just like Mighty Axe mode, Cavalier mode counts as both Skull Knight and Deadly Axe, and that's probably the main reason I like it. We have 6 cards that count as either of them, and that really helps to fill in the spots. Yeah, so 2 of this. Personal preference. If you want to cut it down to 1, you can cut it down to 1. I think 1 at least is mandatory, because you can easily Digicross with it from trash or add it back from trash. Use it pretty flexibly. But I like 2 because it counts as either. Our last level 4 is 1 Mercurymon, hybrid for game. This comes up like all the time. And we can add it back from trash, because Darkknightmon X adds back any black Digimon. So I don't even care if it ends up trashed. I can end it back near the end of the game. And potentially game with this after swinging with Dark Knight X. So yeah, I love this card at 1. Also, it can be a blocker too. Cool. I don't think we really need more blockers, but nice to have more ways to get blocker. That's all my level 4s. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 13, 15. We have 16 level 4s in the deck, which normally would sound absurd, but in this deck, 16 works. Feel free to comment, if you have any questions about ratios or suggestions. I've pretty much just been playing this deck for the last 4 weeks, so I'm definitely not a long-term master or anything like that. But yeah, I'm tinkering with the deck week by week. The first week I played it, I came second. The second week I played it, I came second, and then finally on the last week of EX4 before the pre-release, I finally won. So it felt good to finally win after coming second twice. For level 5s, this is the heart and soul of the deck, the BT10 Darkknightmon. Um, our main win condition is just Digivolving one so many times that they can never get a good turn going. I versed a number of the Omnimon deck from EX4, and if they don't have the one turn like to go all the way up, and they end on just one level 6, I just keep Digivolving it. Sometimes they go into Omnimon, Digivolve that. They have level 6, level 4, cool, Digivolve level 6, delete level 4 with its Digicross effect. Yeah, no, this card's just really good. And the fact that you can block with this, then it brings out another body that you can block with again, and also get more searching done. Yeah, it's just MVP of the deck for sure. I would run way more copies of this. I'd probably run 6 copies of this if I could, if it was legal to run more than 4 copies. It feels like we have more than 4 copies because of the ways we can Digicross from trash or add this back from trash. So, MVP of the deck for sure. Like, if you're not running 4 of this, you're not playing Darkknightmon. Next, we have 2 of the old Darkknightmon. I still like him. He's cheaper to evolve. I very rarely use his on-play effect because 7 memory is a lot. But once or twice I have done it. If I'm on 4-3 memory, I'll just put them back to 4-3 memory. Just play this, put 2 sources. It's a 1 card to get back in the game. This one brings out 2 bodies, but they come out suspended, so you can't block with them. However, if they're low on security, blocking their last attack and bringing out 2 bodies, if they don't remove those 2 bodies, that's like a lot of potential swings next turn. So more use this offensively than defensively. I like this one defensively, this one offensively. Again, because he brings out up to 2 Digimon under him, more like a Skull Knight and Deadly Axe. He works really well with the works well with this because this one counts as either and can Digivolve, so it works. This on anything means this can bring out 2 sources, and this Digicrossed on anything means this can bring out 2 sources. So these 6 cards work well with these. And obviously the old Skull Knightmon works well with this because when attacking, it can go into this when attacking. And that's slightly better than that one because that one doesn't do as much if you're not using its on-play effect. But yeah, 2 of the odd one. 2's a good number. Lastly, I play 1 of the new EX4 Darkknightmon. I hate this card. I only run it because it's another Digicross target, and this can't Digicross. Also, it has Twilight in its traits, and this doesn't have Twilight. So it's more searchable and flexible. It still does the Digivolve 1. The reason I hate it, it doesn't bring out any bodies. It just searches on deletion. And that's kind of why I hate it. The Digivolve effect isn't as good as this. Doesn't bring up bodies like this. It's easy to make, and it's Twilight archetype, so it's easy to use, but it's not good. Only thing I like about it is it can make one of your Digimon blocker, so it's good if you don't have Nene. It also comes up in the Black or Greymon matchup if they Hades Force to kill your Nenes and go for game. This makes sure you still have a blocker even without Nene. So that's pretty much only like niche uses. If you have Nene, this card's not as good. So have considered cutting it, but I don't know what I'd run instead. Like, I don't really want to run a third of this. And I don't think I want to run just 6 level 5s, because I would need more like searching or ability to play more of this one to make up for it. So that's why we run 1. Inheritable effect. We're not playing Grey Knightmon, so it does nothing. Yeah, those are the level 5s. Level 6s, short and sweet. It's already been a long video. 3 Darkknightmon X. 4s, too many. 3 can sometimes be bricky. But it is important to see at least one. So, definitely like 3. Its effect's really nice. We can delete one of their tamers. And it costs 4 to digivolve on Darkknightmon. So it costs 4 and you can delete a tamer. This is a big blocker, 12,000. If we have the Deadly Axe inheritable, it's 13,000 during both turns. So again, that 13,000 during the opponent's turn does come up when you're blocking an attack. Adding back any black or purple Digimon. I mainly add back either the BT10 Darkknightmon. We either add that back if I need more copies of it, or a missing piece, or we can add back like a hybrid or a rookie. If we don't have a rookie, I add back a rookie to digivolve and breeding. Or Mini-Tamon's just good to add back at any time. And then since we'll always have Darkknightmon in its stack, because that's the only way we're digivolving it, delete a tamer, unsuspend it. This allows us to go for game sometimes by double attacking, especially if we delete our Nene. If we delete our Nene, this becomes a 2 cost to do an extra attack. Also, if we're on 4 memory, if we attack with a Darkknightmon and it lives, we can digivolve into this for 4, add back the hybrid and delete 1 Nene to unsuspend it. Second check, get them down to 0 security, and then digivolve on another tamer with the hybrid, using that 2 memory that we got by deleting Nene, and attack for game with the hybrid. So this definitely lets a lot of offense. On deletion, it lets us play a Darkknightmon, and yes, we can digicross to, start getting another thing out. Or we can just go into this one, to, not as important. But yeah, really good, because on deletion, just go back into Darkknightmon. Cool, we're going to start the plays and do things all over again. This makes him really good blocker, because a blocker that can potentially go into another Digivolve blocker, which on deletion goes into another blocker. Can be really hard for opponents to get through if the only way of removal is deletion. Got to run it. It's not Twilight, so do note it's not Twilight. And also it can't add itself back from trash. If it could add itself back from trash and it was Twilight, I would just run 2 if you could add itself back. But because it can't, you got to run 3. So you actually don't trash all your copies with no way to get them back. That's level 6s, pretty simple. Level 7s, 1 Dev Xmon. This only came up pretty much like once or twice in like 3 nights of locals. It doesn't come up that much. You delete weak boards easily with your Digivolve and Digicross effects. You can delete tamers. It's only good against like hunters, crossheart, or big wide boards. But sometimes they've already like made the stuff and attacked by the time we want to go Death X. The cool thing about it is that it's black, so Darkknightmon X can add this back from trash. Nice. I don't really want to Digivolve because I lose all my on deletion plays that I'm going for. Honestly, it's 15,000 and that comes up if they get insecurity. And that's probably more useful than the card itself at the moment. But yeah, this is very optional, so if you don't have it, feel free to place this with anything else. Very, very optional. Moving on to the options, we have 3 copies of Pride Memory Boost. I see some people running less, but we don't have many plays aside from playing Digimon, and most of our Digimon plays are for memory. So we really need a way to keep it our turn in case we don't want to pass turn. If they put us on 3, we don't want to be playing stuff for 4 memory if they have a memory setter, because we're basically doing 6 memory plays every turn. If they don't have a memory setter, this deck's really good, because you can keep putting them on 1 like every turn. But you can't always rely on that. So you really need a way to keep it your turn, or just get to 4 more memory each turn. So this card's really good for the memory. And again, we play like, what was it, 15, 16 level? I think it's 15 or 16 level 4s. Plus we play all level 3s. So we have a really good chance of hitting something. I've almost never missed this. Sometimes I end up having to play like a security Chikurimon with this effect, because that's the only target. Or some other Digimon that I don't really want to play. But yeah, I almost never miss this. I think I've missed this like once in like, 3 nights of locals. So it's, yeah, really good card. Last option is 2 copies of Immortal Ruler. Yeah, it's a really good card. It's basically 2 more copies of the BT10 Darkknightmon, which is the whole reason you should be playing the deck. The trash effect does help because it does let you put more stuff in the trash. That gives you more options of what to digicross. Funny enough, I had the new EX4 Dark Knight, and that was the only Darkknightmon I had access to. So I was like, okay, I'll Immortal Ruler to make that one. Managed to mill the BT10 Darkknightmon, and it's like, oh, actually, I'm going to make that one instead. Because yeah, its effect's pretty nice. Ignore color requirements if you have a Nene, which very easy in this deck. We have so many Nenes now that it's a lot easier than it was to use. Also, I love the fact that it has Twilight in its traits, which means it's searchable with Monitamon. We can trash it to draw 2 with Deadly Axe, or add it to hand with any on-deletion effects. So yeah, really nice. At first I thought 1 was the way to go, but 100% 2. We just love seeing it. On to our tamers. My tamer ratios changed like every single week. I could never stay with the same tamer ratio. So this is the one I used in the week that I won. And it's 4 copies of Nene. Most of the time I ran 3, but you'd be surprised. You run 3 and sometimes you never see it, or only see it like at the end, like too late into the game. You really want this as soon as possible, just so you can start blocking every attack. We don't want the little rookies attacking. We want to make every attack, something we can choose to block or let through. I mean, 3's fine if you see 1 early, but I like the 4. It's a searcher, super important. Also, because Twilight in the traits, what I end up doing is if I do open too many, let's say like I've already got 1 on the field and I have 2 in my hand, I'll just start trashing this with Deadly Axemon, because it's Twilight in the traits. I'll just trash it to draw 2. Or, Darkknightmon X, if they don't have a tamer or important tamer, I'll just start deleting my own Nenes to make it cheaper and then replay Nenes. So yeah, 4 worked really well. If you like 3, go for 3, but 4 was surprisingly useful. Shout out to the Squeaky Moose for actually recommending me to go to 4, because I was at 3 for a long time and he was like, try 4, and I'm like, you know what, this is pretty good. My next tamer is 2 Kurohara Nenes. I'm very much considering bumping this up to 3. I just need to find room, probably take out one of those cards that are optional. The extra memory, it might be like, 1 memory isn't that much, but especially if you're at 3 and go to 4, or if you're at 2 memory and you have 2 of these, go up to 4. Again, it's really important that you like to start with at least 4 memory if they have a memory tamer, because again, otherwise we're just passing turn like every time we do something. Also, the resource advantage you get by using something from the trash every time you digicross, really helpful. Really helps you maintain cards and not run out of having both Deadly Axe and Skull Knight, because if you're using just from hand, sometimes you run out of having the right names, and this lets you, use anything else, or you can use this to constantly use one of the different modes that counts as either one. So don't underestimate what this card can do. When we get the new promo Skull Knightmon, if you don't know the new promo Skull Knightmon, it actually is the only card in this archetype that can actually play a tamer and then it saves itself under the tamer, which means we can actually finally use the effect to play something under the tamer and from trash, not just from trash. So when we get that one, definitely bumping this up to 3, like 100%. It's just too much extra resources, and you really like to see one. If you don't like 4 Nene, I'd recommend 3 Nene and 3 of this. Yeah, especially with the future card coming out, this card just gets better. So, woo, good card. Also, it's got Twilight in its traits, and it counts as Nene, so it works with everything. Last card in the deck, if you're counting the cards, is 1 copy of Izzy. I see a lot of decks don't run this, and I think it's really good. The deck's all black, so it's just a 3 cost. Or for hidden security, we can gain 1 memory during their turn, which is really nice. But not much to say. We really like, again, I really like starting with a decent amount of memory, so I can do my 4 cost plays and keep it my turn. And this, this helps us to start off with a good amount of memory. If we're on 1, we can just do a 4 cost plays and keep passing turn each time, but I really prefer starting at 3 and putting them to 1 or 2 if they don't have a memory tamer, or going to 4, going to 0 with a 4 cost play, and then passing turn if they do have a memory setter. But yeah, this is just, you know what Izzy does. He helps with the deck. Half the time he does end up in trash, or not as useful, because he's not Twilight or anything. But I feel like the 1 copy never really hurt. If I saw in security, love it. If I see in my hand, like early game, love it. If he comes up later, it's 1 card. It's not really the be-all and end-all. But yeah. Anyway, that's my deck. Sorry that the video took a really long time. I love going in discussion about, these kind of decks. And feel free to comment or give suggestions. Very much open to feedback. And yeah, cool. I don't know, probably see another video in like 10 years time. But yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching.